Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. A very good day to all of you. I welcome you to the third lecture of report writing skills. In the previous lectures, we have talked about an introduction to report writing. We discussed the purpose of writing a report. We mentioned the different features of a well-written report, where we discussed and talked about the element of objectivity, the manner in which it is created. Your research should be research-based. It should have a good structure, and the element of clarity is also required when it comes to the process of report writing. Then in the next lecture, we moved onwards to give you the structure of a report. And we had an overview of how it begins, starting from the title page, then moving towards the executive summary. Then the element of TOC is very essential to organize your content and to provide details in just a single page. Then we give an introduction to our readers. We move towards the discussion section. We talk about the design which is used to carry out the analysis. Then we get some results, and on the basis of those results, we conclude our survey and our study. And based on that conclusion, we give some recommendations and suggestions. And at the end, you have a last section which comes in the form of the work cited. And why do you cite the work? Basically, to make your study more credible, more authentic. And if there is some material which is in excess and cannot be made part of the main body of a report, then you provide the details of such content under the heading of the appendices. Now if we look into the detail of each and every section of a report, you'll be able to realize the significance and how it needs to be structured. And then we can begin by looking at the title page. That is how it should appear. And if you look at the left hand side, you realize these are the four basic components which are essential and are required to be there within the first page, known as the title page. It should have a clear title. It should have a date of submission. Then the details of the person who has prepared that report, and for the ones who will be the direct target audience of that report. These four elements are required to be there when we talk about the title page. So if you look at the example right here on the right side of this page, you can see this is the title of the report. And here it comes over here. Then if you move onwards, what we find here is prepared for East Wilson Street. So a reference to the target audience for whom this report has been prepared. So we can say now we have the details of the addressee as well. Then if we move onwards, at the bottom of this page we have prepared by Landmark Research. So a reference of the addresser the one who has prepared this report for East Wilson Street. So we can say now we have the detail of the addresser as well. And finally, moving towards the bottom of the page, you can see a reference of the exact date of submission. So we can say all the fundamental features or the things which are required to be there within the first page are there. Now if we move ahead, the next section is the executive summary, also known as the abstract. The executive summary, as the name also indicates, is basically a text that is providing the gist of the whole report. You try to put the things in a nutshell when we talk about the executive summary. When we talk about the structure of the executive summary, or how to write it and how to prepare it, there are 3 to 5 points which are required to be considered when we are preparing our own executive summary. The first thing that you need to know is that you should be clear about your aims and your objectives. Certainly a report is assigned to an individual by an employer, by the organization, and in case of an academic environment, it could be a professor. So keeping in view the context and the manner in which you have received that task, so that is how you set your aims and objectives. Once the aims are clear to you, the next thing which is most important is your design, or the methodology which will be used within this report. Once you are clear about the framework and the design that you will be following, you should provide an indication of those findings which were achieved by carrying out this analysis. Now you'll be wondering, how is that possible that we are already providing findings at the very beginning of the report writing process? You'll know within a couple of minutes what is the reason behind it. Based on those findings, then we provide a conclusion to our target audience, which should be covering all the points of the report and should sum up all the details which are provided in the main body of a report. And based on that conclusion, then we provide a set of recommendations and suggestions. Excuse me. So these are the 4 or 5 points which are very much essential, and you should be well aware of these bullets when you have to write your executive summary. Now if you look at the lower section of this slide, I have a sample for you, and this sample is basically an executive summary, but the good thing about it is that each and every section has been separated from the others, and along the left side you can see all the motives just the way they are written at the top. Now you can see every section has been defined a separate motive that it is trying to achieve. Let's have a look at it. If you look at the text which is highlighted in blue, the aim of this report was to investigate Unilab staff attitudes to personal mobile phone use in staff and team meetings. So if you look at the very first few words which are written at the beginning of this sentence, it clearly indicates that it's defining the purpose of the whole report. So whenever you have to begin or initiate your report's executive summary, that is how you structure it, to define your purpose. That the aim of this report is this, this and so on. That will clearly indicate to your reader as well that this is the purpose. And if it is the area of interest of your reader, she would go into the details of what's coming ahead. So we can say that that is how you write your purpose. Moving onwards, the next step, of course, once you have defined your purpose, is mentioning and providing the detail of the design and the method which has been used. If we look at the text highlighted in green, you will have an idea of how the methodology is written, especially for this report and its executive summary. A staff survey on attitudes towards the use of mobile phones in staff team meetings was conducted. So have you noticed what are the points which are being highlighted here within this sentence? The first thing is that a staff survey on the attitudes towards the use on mobile phones in staff meetings was conducted. So the focus has been laid down that a staff survey was conducted on what? On the attitudes towards the use of mobile phone. So this is basically the method which was used to analyze the attitude towards the use of mobile phones. The things are being set, things are being established. Now we can say that now we have the methodology as well. Now if we look at the sentence highlighted in pink, it's a bit pink, bit red, but now you have an idea. The next section basically. Over here we have the results of carrying out the analysis based and by the application of that methodology. Now we have a set of findings and results. The results indicate that the majority of staff find mobile phone use a major issue in staff meeting. So you have a set of results that you have gained after carrying out that analysis. And the manner of writing it is that the results of the study indicate that this and this are the findings of this study. So the most important part of this section is that is how you structure your result section. Now we can say that this is basically the manner in which result has been given. So just look at the manner in which you started from the purpose, you moved from methods and then coming towards the results. The next section would be moving towards your conclusion as provided within the sentence highlighted in orange. The report concludes, based on those results, the report concludes that personal mobile phones are disruptive and should be turned off in meetings. So have you noticed the manner in which the tone changes, the manner of writing changes? How did you take a start? The aim of this report is this, this and this. A survey was conducted, like a methodology. The results indicate that it's a major issue. And then the report concludes, based on those findings, that personal mobile phones are disruptive and should be turned off in meetings. So just focus on the manner in which it has to be written. And I can also say that this is the part highlighting the conclusion. The next step is that once your 4 main sections are complete, you can come towards suggestions and recommendations, because you have laid down a ground for yourself. Now you're in a position to give some suggestions and recommendations as well based on your findings. So this is the manner in which you can write the recommendations and suggestions. It is recommended that Unilab develops a company policy banning the use of mobile phones except in exceptional circumstances. So at the end of the executive summary, you basically give your suggestions and recommendations. And this is basically the manner in which the whole body of a report is structured. So it's basically a short form of what's coming ahead, in the same manner in which you prepare the whole report. And once these sections are there within the executive summary, your reader would also have a clear idea what's coming ahead. And if it's the basic focus, if it's the target which he or she wants to read, certainly he will look into the detail of your report as well. Over here we have a more specific example of the manner in which an executive summary is supposed to be written. The previous example was a bit generic, but now this one has been taken from the report based on accounts and finance, and it's a bit detailed as well. The good thing about it is that it has another section as well, which is also important, and it of course varies from situation to situation, but if it is there, certainly it should be very much explanatory. So if we start from the first section, if you look at the report executive summary, the first thing is the subject matter as you see it. This report, what does it do? This report provides an analysis and evaluation of the current and prospective profitability, liquidity and financial stability of outdoor equipment.